Good morning. It is windy out. Windier than I anticipated when I left the house. But here we are. Oh no, I'm about to do the thing. So we found out a while ago that zippers are really, really loud on this microphone. And I never remember to open my project bag before I start the live. Not even one time. Ooh, so loud. Good morning. Yes, parking wars of Christchurch continue. I was a little distracted and missed a turn and forgot that there's no way to turn. No, yes, forgot or wasn't aware actually. There's no way to turn into any of the car parks on Manchester Street from the north, which is always exciting. Anyway, we're here. I'm working away on the first sleeve for Exeter. Both fronts are done, including the absolutely massive ribbed sections, which over time I made friends with and got through rather expediently in the end. And yes, I'm pretty much knitting in a heathered tweeted version of the color that I'm already wearing. Breaking news. I am totally fine with this now. I talk to a lot of knitters in the shop, obviously, and I talk to a lot of you on different platforms and here and online and sometimes in person, which is always great. But what I think I find the most interesting is I hear from a lot of knitters quite frequently that I always knit things in blue, yellow, green, purple, whatever, and it's my favorite color, and I really need to knit things in another color. Well, that's a myth. You don't have to knit things in another color. Knit them in whatever color you feel like. And if you just want to knit in your favorite color, that's perfectly acceptable. You're knitting for yourself. So anyway, yes, I'm hard at work on this. It is one of 3 cardigans that I intend to finish for this cabled cardigan knit along. So this guy's coming along. I'm overall quite happy with it. The definition on the cables is really beautiful. The color really, I think, accentuates it. The lace is more evident once you block it. It flattens out quite a bit. You can see that from the project photos of Exeter and the photos on Ravelry. I really am enjoying this, and I have definitely picked the correct sleeve size after folding the cuff and pinning it and trying it on last night. This was the correct size. Anything smaller would have been too small, not for my wrists, but for my forearms. They wouldn't have fit. So this is good, and it increases relatively rapidly, which for me is quite helpful given that by the top of my forearm, before it becomes part of the elbow joint, my arm is already as wide as it gets. My bicep and tricep structure are roughly the same size as my forearms. Yes, anyway, I am hard at work on this, and I'm just trying to punch through to the end of this project and stay focused. So we're really, really close on it, and I think it's going to be great to wear because I loved my previous one so much. I did add length, so I have added 2 additional buttonholes closer to the top than what you may want on this garment if you were knitting it for a woman. But because my bust doesn't protrude, I actually want the final buttons up higher so that the collar fold happens slightly higher in line with the V-neck shaping, the very slight V-neck shaping, and the increases on the shawl collar as opposed to occurring slightly below to allow ease for the bust. So that's one way, if you're somebody who struggles, with pulling at the bust, is making sure that that full bust circumference plus ease is what you have there at that point for those buttons to not stretch apart. And definitely consider where the buttons may fall on your body by comparing it to the lengths in the button band. That's what I did. That's how I made that adjustment. Yeah, so sleeve. That's it. Hi, Allison. I've just been knitting this over and over again, day after day, to try to get through it. And I will be honest, I have not had huge amounts of knitting time recently. Thank you to everybody who's been coming into shop and that I've gotten to see in this lead up to the Christmas season. It's been really, really great. I really appreciate all of the support. It has left me very busy and a little run around, but that's the nature of the season. I'm going to be stepping away from social media. This is going to be the last live until January, and the podcast in some form and the live in some form will return the week. So the one will return, hopefully, if everything goes to plan, on January 14th. And then the lives will resume that Saturday, which I want to say off the top of my head, shouldn't do this, is the 17th, but I'm bad at dates. So there we go, in January. So this will be the last one of these for a little while. And then I will be back in January with more pre-recorded content. Possibly these may switch back to being pre-recorded. I don't know. We'll find out. It's been making Saturdays delightfully full. So with all that being said, I hope all of your guys' knitting is going well. And if you have gift knitting or anything on the needles, don't stress. If it's not done, it's not done. There's really, at this point, nothing you can do about it. So there's no point in worrying. Give them it with the needles in it. Give it to them when it's done. No one cares. I promise. Not in a negative way, in a positive way. They'll be thrilled for the action that you took and what you did. The rest of it won't matter. So remember that. It's always a big stressy thing for people who knit for Christmas gifts. I totally feel that. This is just something for myself, and even I got myself a little stressed out about it. There was a mishap with blocking one of the fronts, and I genuinely lost it for about an hour. And for me, it's a little different. These pieces aren't just my hobby. Not that that's not extremely important, but it's also my work and my vocation. Represents a lot of time and hours and planning and et cetera, especially when you're squeezing in the knitting like I am with this one. It was just very upsetting. And then I had to remind myself that that happened. It could be resolved. I would just have to accept a new timeline, that things were going to move differently, and that at the end of the day, everything was going to be fine. So that's my words to you about Christmas knitting and knitting to deadlines in general. Whether it's because you do it as a passion or because you're doing this for work, or if it's some sort of in between, or if it's stress relief or anything else, just, remember, sometimes things just take the time that they take. And that's just the nature of it. I will say, on the Flock Online in the new year, we are stripping everything back if you're joining us there or considering it. And we're going to be basically starting over at the end of February 2025. So there's going to be really great lead up of content around how to start thinking and considering pleasure and knitting and craft and all of these things going forward. And then we're going to start from the beginning with like the stockinette fabric and move on from there in a really logical, smooth progression. And if you're thinking about joining us, it will be a great time because we're starting with a fresh return to a bigger, more invigorated purpose in the new year. And I think it's going to be a beautiful time. So what else is going on? The new year is going to see a rise here at Get Flocked for all of you of some really exciting new portions of what I love to bring to people in fiber. So I've been working towards starting to make the shop more spinning friendly in a bunch of different ways. One has definitely been learning to spin myself. I'm not a master spinner by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got enough going on that I think I could probably help people get going. And I think there's a beautiful path of self-discovery ahead in spinning for a lot of people. Spinning's beautiful because it's something you can pick up, put down. You can do a little bit as the mood calls for it. It's a really pleasurable craft. And I do want to say, having spun on a lot of different wheels, I'm wildly impressed by what Ashford produces. And there's a lot of other options out there, but I definitely have found the wheel that I'm going to use for the rest of my life. And I'm pretty thrilled about that. So spinning always asks you the question of whether or not you're ready to move at the pace of the fiber. And in 2025, I'm doing something for myself and something for the Flock Online called A Year of Nothing New. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to be doing stuff and trying new yarns and bringing new things into the shop and offering new classes and other opportunities. But personally, my year of nothing new is going to revolve around patterns. I'm only going to knit new patterns that I've come up with, and I'm going to be reknitting several of my patterns in different yarns or the same yarns in different colorways. I haven't decided completely yet what's going to happen with all of it. And I'd also like to remake several things that no longer serve the way that they were previously knit. So I have all of that coming up on the horizon, and I think it's going to be a really beautiful way to find balance in my life for the new year, is to not do anything new, to stay the course and embed myself more deeply into the craft of making in the way that I think is best. Hopefully you'll all come along on that journey with me. But spinning is something I took up this year, so it's going to be well into the mix next year. And what I love about spinning is, as I kind of already said, the fiber really asks you if you're ready to come meet it at its speed. So different fibers, different microns, different things, as you're spinning them, as you read about it, as you listen to people talk about it, need to be spun with different amounts of twists and at different speeds, and you want to apply them slightly different. There's a lot of stuff that you can feel more than I could possibly describe until you know what the tactile feedback of spinning is like, and why some of this is so evident once you're spinning, but beforehand is a little difficult to see and understand necessarily. So that brings me to this. One of the new things that we have in the shop that we're going to be stocking going forward. So this is a really, really big bag, 250 gram bag of different combed fibers. This is a Lucky Dip fiber bag from Hedgehog Fiber, and it'll contain a mixture of merino, silk, alpaca, sparkle, blue-faced, Leicester, Surrey alpaca, sari silk, and more. So it is just a big grab bundle. You could spin this in lots of different ways and produce lots of very interesting things, quite honestly. I just thought it was a fabulous thing, and I've seen people make really beautiful stuff with this. We also sell like carding board and stuff like that. So get excited for that. Spinning is definitely on the horizon. We have 5 unique ones of these that all have their own character. I did ask for kind of a focus on more pastel and gray shades, as they tend to be quite complementary and lovely to spin together. Ooh, isn't that a delightful sound? Crinkling. And yes, so they're all very different. They're all photographed. Here we go. Turn that one around so the same way. And they're all very, very beautiful. I'm thrilled about them. I think that people will love to have a good play. So spinning is definitely going to be a big part of what I'm doing in the new year, which I'm really looking forward to. And also definitely continuing to explore yarns that I've touched this year that I haven't had a chance to really work with. One of those things that we're going to be bringing to you guys in the new year, I just finished this swatch. I haven't had a chance to block it. This is the colorway Sushi from Walk Collection on their Big Kid Mohair. So this is a, bulky weight mohair yarn that they have hand dyed in this beautiful variegated and slightly speckled colorway that they call Sushi. It is, I have a cake of it here. I did not bring this game, but I have a cake of it here. It is super fluffy. I almost ordered this for myself in a bright yellow, and I'm really glad I didn't, because I have very, very long legs, and I think I would have looked like Big Bird, which is a aesthetic one may choose to strive for, but not one of the ones in my list. So I'm going to make myself a big, not necessarily that oversized, but I'm going to make myself a drop shoulder pullover in this, so we can all have a good look at what goes on with this sort of bulky mohair and go on an adventure of making a new fabric together. I'm going to be bringing in some more of this in the new year, so keep your eyes peeled for the bulky weight mohair. There are some great patterns that have been released over the last little while in bulky weight for something exactly like this, and some great vintage ones out there as well for those of you who love a structure and a seam. So definitely start your bulky weight mohair engines for some New Zealand summer knitting. I think knitting it in pieces will be pleasant, but it's actually not ridiculous to knit, and it kind of stays away from you. So I'm excited to see what goes on once blocked and worn. So that is coming up for sure in the new year. Just a little bit of, a fun housekeeping tease at the same time. We have also gotten a selection of yarns in from the good folks at Hedgehog Fiber. Ooh, I might just, does that stay up on its own? It does. Here we go. Let's just bring them up into the light, shall we? There we go. So we've got a dazzling new selection from Hedgehog Fiber. There's Peach, there's Bloom, there's Super Bloom, which beautifully go together. There's a whole array. One of the beautiful gray shades of that speckling is called Pond Life. I'm really, really in love with just how saturated and rich and subtle the colors have come out this year. So a beautiful selection of Hedgehog Fiber in store, all on this sock, not for socks base. Some of the colors really do deserve a little bit more of a spotlight. Sorry, it sits on a stand and I kind of scooped it up out of the stand, which is probably not an optimal way to pick up a rack of yarn, but you know, there we go. Good morning, Pravina. Oh, lovely. Hi. So some of the really stunner colorways here. This is Plume, Plume, like a plume of smoke. I think it's come out really gorgeous and subtle. Pond Life is the one that I mentioned earlier, and they obviously work extremely well together in this beautiful grage with soft speckling and some harsher speckles as well. So good amounts of contrast there. If you wanted to possibly explore some fading fun, you could always use this kind of quite rambunctious selection of Peachy Keen into Bloom, into Super Bloom, and then you could always finish it off with Sun Shower on the other side for a beautiful little foreskein fade. So that's Peachy Keen, and then this guy's Bloom. This one here is Super Bloom, and then Sun Shower. And they're just a lovely set of colors coming into summer, something rich and juicy. So we've got both sides of the spectrum covered. We've got a fade in each of the two kind of colorways. You'd start possibly with Pond Life or Zenith. This guy is Zenith here on that other side of the rainbow. That grage, this guy has lots of beautiful mustard tones to it that are not showing up particularly well on the camera, to be clear. This is very mustardy, and it is showing up quite gray and dull compared to how vibrant it appears to me in person. But yeah, so that's all the new Hedgehog Fiber. And what else have we got in for you to think about? Just a quick housekeeping reminder while I'm picking up the next couple of things. We are open throughout the holiday season. You will find, not me, I'm taking a little break, but you will find somebody in the shop all of the days except for Christmas Day. So if you are looking to come in and get anything or do anything or be in the city, please come on in. The shop will be open. You should also probably, if you're a Christchurch local, and even if you're an online friend, make a plan to be available on the 26th. We might have something going on for all of you. You might really enjoy what happens that day. But it'll definitely be a first in best dressed situation, both in-store and online. So we are going to have some in-store only specials and some online specials. So it'll be worth it to come into the shop to grab some stuff and also to do it online. Now, we also got a selection of the Isager Soft Fine, which is one of the really, really standout beauties from the Isager collection. The Soft Fine, hopefully this camera is going to want to play ball. Maybe, there we go. The Soft Fine is a blend of alpaca, yak, and silk. It is 25 grams, 150 meters. And they've recently expanded the color palette, adding these beauties in. So 36, 12, 37, and 54 are the new to us shades. We do have a selection of other colors already, but these are the most recent ones to come in, and we absolutely love them. We've also been feeling extremely inspired, both as a shop and a local community here in Christchurch in the store, by the incredible work of Mariana Isager. So on top of getting her book number 3 in for several of our clients, I brought in a copy of each number 1 and number 2. The Isagers are not only purveyors of extremely fine yarn, for which I am very, very grateful, and great business people to deal with, but they are also talented artists, artisans, and crafters. They design beautiful patterns that invite you to have a sense of ownership over the decision making that crafts a garment suited perfectly to you, by blending fibers together to make the perfect fabric that you're looking for, to bringing in shaping and adjustments that may work for you in a way that feels organic, to placing intarsia or texture work in a spacing that will give you a garment that is as unique as the person who made it. I really love the work that they're doing, and we are going to be expanding our selection of Isager yarns, and which ones we are permanently holding year round, over the next 12 months to meet the needs of the style of knitting that the Isagers are bringing to the fore. And what's beautiful about this is you can interpret their work and the work of brands like Filcolana, through the eyes of other designers as well. So you can take things crafted by someone like Petite Knits or everyone else escapes me, maybe Kudo Vakika, and interpret them differently by knitting using a finer set of fabrics from Isager. We are bringing in right now the Maryland lineup from Isager specifically, which has just arrived here in store. These guys are some of the newest offerings, and we're going to be offering them year round. And these offer a lot of versatility. So this is a wool and linen blend. And the linen in this mostly has been dyed black or left natural and then over dyed, creating that overshot, undershot effect inside of it. I mostly brought in the ones with the black linen, but we have two here with the white linen in it. And in the lighter colors, it actually disappears into the wool nearly completely. So this is a little taste of some of the building that we're doing by adding things like an improved selection of colors on the EcoSoft Fine and enhancing our offerings across the board by bringing in more Isager over time. With all of that said, I'm going to pop off for now until mid-January. So I hope all of you have a beautiful holiday season. Take some time for yourselves and enjoy. Don't put too much pressure on yourselves to do too much or to get too much done over this time. I think everybody needs a bit of a rest from what I'm hearing in store, and I know I certainly do. I hope all of you have a beautiful, beautiful time. Enjoy your New Year's, and we will get back together in mid-January. If you're looking for anything from this shop, please feel free to come in during the break. We are open every day except for Christmas. All right. Lovely to see all of you this morning. Have a great time. Bye-bye.